Practice here at Everyday Center for Spiritual Living, and it is my pleasure to offer this reading. And the title is called "Returning, Ever Returning," and it is an excerpt from Cheryl Capaldo Taylor. We have arrived. We are home, here in this space, now, at this time. Gather your children, your pens, your words. Gather your friends, your community, all who believe in a new era of peace, love, and equality. Today, we begin a new world, and for that, we need a new map. We are no longer the frail ones of yesterday, those melting by the fire. We are the empowered ones of today. We are the fire. Throw us in and watch us burn, then rise in the wind, wings outstretched, never again to be captured and clipped. She who knows her power and has been through too many hoops will be with us in this pause. No longer jumping through, but stepping together into another beginning. She has taught us the mystery of the Ouroboros, beginnings and endings. They are one and the same. Remember, both and. Put away, yes, no, right, wrong. Step with us into the realm of magical possibilities. We must remain vigilant and clear-sighted. Together, we will protect our children, our bodies, our animals, our woods, our deserts, and our waters. Yes, we have work to do. We begin again each hour, each day, each ending. Take a breath. Oh, and let those words settle in. We are the fire. And so in the sense of newness, our affirmation today is, I begin again.
I begin again.
I begin again today. And with each ending, there is a beginning.
And with each ending, there is a beginning.
And so it surely is.
And so it is. We're going to tune up for a moment. Are we ahead of ourselves?
I'm just going to say, something.
Oh.
Because I get to show up at the front of the room and whenever I feel like it, say a little something. So there's no one here to introduce these incredible talents and gifts to our center, and even though many of us are familiar with them because we have been blessed with having their participation in our service many times, we are about to have Cathy take her 6-month disappearance act and go to Hawaii. I know, it's terrible. But Anita will still be here.
I will, yes.
And for those of you who don't know, or it's been a little while since they've been here, Cathy and Anita are sisters, and they are part of a remarkably musical family. Someday I know we'll have Chief
I hope so.
back in the house, because you have never heard a trumpet like his. So, at any rate, please welcome, with an everyday welcome, Cathy and Anita.
Take a moment to tune up real quick. I do want to introduce my song. I woke up a little depressed reps the second week of November, and I decided I need to write a song. And it just came to me instantly, and it had to do with resilience. That sometimes we feel knocked down, but we have resilience inside of us, and we are able to draw upon it, and we are able to move on. And so this is called Win or Lose. And do we need to tune up a little bit more? Are we good? Maybe let's do our first chord. Believe me, you'll appreciate it. Push on through, carry on, hum the tune, sing a song, keep it real, don't justify, face the facts, don't justify, can't always get away, that's true. Life's not always fair for me and you. 'Cause someone's gotta win, someone's gotta win, and someone's gotta lose. Someone's gotta lose, someone's gotta don't wanna feel, keep it under wraps, lose control, another day perhaps, seems unfair, so absolute, this attitude of win, lose, can't always get away, that's true. Life's not always fair for me and you. 'Cause someone's gotta win, and someone's gotta lose. Someone's gotta lose, someone's gotta lose, someone's gotta lose. So let's take a higher ground, just to turn our thoughts around, where healing can be found. Let's take a higher ground, let's take a higher ground, choose to turn your thoughts around, where healing can be found. Let's take a higher ground. Keep the faith, find another day, don't let this feeling, don't let it get in our way. No matter what we have to do, just carry on, win or lose, just carry on, win or lose. So let's take a higher ground, choose to turn our thoughts around, where healing can be found. Let's take a higher ground, let's take a higher ground, choose to turn our thoughts around, where healing can be found. Let's take a higher ground. They help.
I do that a lot too. Let's see. Which one do you guys like better? This one?
That one.
This one?
This one.
Okay. I'm getting all these little bits of applause from various people in the audience because I'm standing.
Yay!
Someone asked me this morning how long a process this has been for me to be standing here. And I said 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks, because that's how long it's been since my surgery. And they said, no, since it began. And I said, oh. Well, the answer to that question is the end of June. And what a journey it's been. What a journey it's been. We take a lot of things for granted, as I want to mention. We take things for granted like this breathtakingly blue sky here in Santa Fe, which no matter how many times we look at it, it just is more beautiful all the time. How does that happen? We take people for granted sometimes. We take kindness for granted. We take green lights for granted. No, we really don't. And speaking of the blue sky, oh yeah, and since it's been a long time since I've stood here and gotten to say this, I'm Rev Ann, and I get to serve with this fabulous community known as the Everyday Center for Spiritual Living here in Santa Fe, New Mexico. Woo-hoo! Yes! Thank you, Laurel. We're always looking for each other. No matter what's going on in the room, we're always watching for each other. And someone just arrived. And haven't we all just arrived? Because we're new when?
Every
day. Every day. We're new every day. Which occurs to me then that if we're new every day, then the things that we're taking for granted are also new every day. Because we have never seen them with these eyes before. We've never noticed them other than maybe the very first time we saw whatever it is. I mean, how many of you remember the very first time that you came to Santa Fe? Every hand in the room went up. You don't? Well, if you were born here, what can I say? There's no excuse for that. Anyway, I was here for a writers' conference in Taos, and I had really spoiled myself. I came here from LA. I flew into Albuquerque. I rented a Mustang convertible. Guess what color it was? Red. And I drove to Taos. And I had this fantasy that I was going to just kind of stop by Santa Fe on my way. But that wasn't the way my directions took me. So I decided, okay, I'll stop by Santa Fe on my way back to Albuquerque, where I was getting on the train to go home, because that was also part of my present to myself, was taking the train back to LA. I love trains. Well, my directions didn't take me by Santa Fe that time either. But I distinctly remember getting close enough to Santa Fe to see the sky. And the difference in the sky as I got closer to Santa Fe and then made the turn towards Taos. And I distinctly remember seeing the Rio Grande for the first time, just right there in front of me. Sky, Rio Grande, red hills. It was captivating. And of course I had the top down in the car. So those memories, Denise and I were talking yesterday, we've been here 10 years as of this week.
Oh my gosh. Yes,
that was something to celebrate.
Right.
So let's go back to that part of the service. And we'll celebrate that, and then we'll do everything else. And when we moved here, we didn't know anybody, as many of you have heard me tell. And the move was not the move we had in mind in our high spiritual thinking. I'll just say, it wasn't quite the move we had in mind. But nonetheless, the move happened, and eventually we started to meet people. And then it was like we'd always been here. But I have never taken that sky for granted. Not once. And I discovered something new about that sky as I was thinking about my talk today, is that the sky has no horizon. You know, when you're in a plane, has everybody in the room flown? I don't mean this way. But have you all been in airplanes and gone somewhere? And you know, when you get above the clouds, you can see forever. The clouds are the only thing that create the illusion of a horizon. And it made me ask myself, so what is this importance of a horizon? What is the importance that we attach to a horizon? A horizon is either an ending or a beginning. Like your song. The horizon is either an ending or a beginning. And believe it or not, because I did accidentally do some research on this. And what I learned is I accidentally did some research. I'm not kidding, it was accidental. It was just something that came to my attention. There is an association to this day, December 29th of 2024, there is an association that still argues that the world is flat. Why would they do that? Because of the importance of a horizon. That's the only reason anybody would find it worthwhile to argue that the world's flat. Because of the validation of a horizon. But the validation of what? You know, the truth is that our lives have endings and beginnings and beginnings and endings and endings and beginnings and beginnings and endings. They just go on and on and on. We don't necessarily notice. But that's what happens. Every time we discover something new, every time we meet someone new, every time we cross a threshold into a new understanding, a new way of being, anew. It's the beginning. Every single time. Every single time. You know, some of us have developed a technique where if we go from one room to another and we can't remember when we get to the next room why we went there, we go back to the room where we started. I hear you laughing. We go back to the room where we started and we do it over again because we hope that by doing that, we will remember what it was we were going into the other room for. It isn't because we don't remember. It's because something else crossed our mind that seemed to be more important. Our minds are very busy, have you noticed? Very busy. So here we stand at the threshold of a new year. And there are, as I have been saying for a couple of weeks now, there are a lot of people who want to tell us what to expect out of that new year. Or what to not expect. How to prepare. How to brace ourselves. Well, okay, I have a major announcement. Every single one of us is going to have our own new year.
Yep. That's right.
Every single one of us is going to have our own experience of crossing that threshold into a new calendar year, which is just a time-space way of measuring time and space. We have to decide. We get to decide. It's ours to decide what that beginning is going to be like. And I don't know about you, but I'm not big on reaction. I don't like it. I don't like being in reaction. I don't like being caught unawares, as Denise and I would say. I like being prepared. And what do I prepare for?
The best.
Now, how did you know that?
We've been listening.
Good job.
If we're not preparing for the best, and we're just sort of letting life happen, what are we sort of preparing for? If we're just sort of letting life happen, what are we sort of preparing for? We're sort of preparing for whatever shows up. Why do I prepare for the best? Because that's what I have learned to expect. Now, that may sound egotistical, but let me tell you what. The reason that I expect the best is because I bring the best. I bring the best I can in every given moment. I bring the best I consciously can. Does that mean that I always rise to my own standards? No. Because had I always risen to my own standards, I would not have had the need for a third surgery. However, what that taught me, what that whole experience has taught me, is the value of being fully present and awake in every moment. Because how I endangered my body was that I let go of being present and awake.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I was ticked. I cleaned that up a little bit for everybody. I had already made some choices that were not the right choices, and I was mad about those, and I was mad about other things, and I mean, I just had my mat on. So what I was doing with my body was the last thing on my list. And it paid for it. I paid for it. Denise paid for it. Everyone who has been so kind and so generous to support us during this time, you paid for it. Even though I know you wouldn't say that. So let's get back to horizons. When we're in reaction, as some of us may be struggling with right now, in terms of this new year, where we're trying to stay in alignment with what we know to be the principles of our teaching, what we know to be the highest idea that we can possibly have, we know to be what we are called to be and do, and how we are called to be it and do it. There may be some of this other stuff going on that has to do with other people's opinions, or what we've heard or read. We aren't there until we get there. I, for one, am going to cross the threshold into the new year consciously on January 1st. And I, for one, am setting intentions for next year that have absolutely nothing to do with anybody else. Well, except for all of you. Because they may have a little something to do with all of you. And how I plan to serve you, and how I plan for this community to be even richer and more connected and more involved and more supportive of each other. Yeah, it may include some of that. But it for sure isn't going to include cabinet nominations that, by the way, still must be approved. It isn't going to include somebody else's agenda other than possibly Denise's, because we always share our intentions for the new year so that we have an idea about, our paths being aligned. That's important to us. And, am I saying everything is going to be hunky-dory? I have no idea. What I do know for sure is that I am showing up everywhere I go, whether it's this year or next year, as my best.
Yes.
And I am bringing my best to it. That's what I know for sure. And that's what any of us can know for sure. There are no horizons in the sky. There's a good reason for that. Because there is an opportunity when we are that high in the sky to view the unlimited. The unlimited, just by virtue of the word, does not include the limited. Okay, now, where am I? Okay. So, in January, our theme is Let's Talk Turkey About God. And believe me, we're going to do it. Because somebody has to. Somebody has to. And part of what we will discover as we go through January on Sundays is, what do some of these words mean? We use the word unlimited and eternal and ongoing and unconditional. We use these words all the time, but what do they really mean, and how do they apply to our lives today?
Right.
We're going to talk about that. We may even have Q&A afterwards so that you can really take me to the test. Because it's important to know what we're saying. It's important to know what we say we believe in. It's important to know not only, I'm not going to say now, because I'm going to give you this little teaser about how important our words are.
Amen.
How powerful our words are. What I am going to tell you is that they're way more powerful than most of us recognize.
Yes.
And if we want life to be different, if we want, no, that's for later. If we want to have an experience that feels like an experience that is our own, then we better get busy creating it. Because it will not be created for us, no matter how long we wait. Some of us are good little waiters. We're really good little waiters. You know, we do our affirmations, and then we wait. Now, is an affirmation a good thing?
Yes.
Sure. Is waiting sometimes a good thing?
Yes.
Absolutely. Because sometimes there is our idea of timing, and there's the divine idea of timing. And it has absolutely nothing to do with us getting it right, us saying the words right, us supplicating enough to be deserving. It has nothing to do with any of that. It just has to do with how long it takes to put all the parts together that we ask the universe to assemble.
Right.
Did you hear me?
Yes.
Because we give the universe a lot of parts sometimes. Well, I want to move into a new place, and I want it to have all of these features, and I want it to be in a great neighborhood, and I want it to cost nothing.
Stop reading my journal.
Those are a lot of parts. Notice I didn't say it couldn't happen. Notice I didn't say you were dreaming. But that's a lot of parts. And timing is what?
Everything.
Timing is everything. Please remember with me during this week, as you look at this incredible sky, please remember with me that what you are looking at is the unlimited, that is in your face all the time, saying, hello, here I am. And all you have to do is look to notice, here I am, waiting for you to recognize that I am your world. I am the possibility of your world. I am the possibility of every world. I am the possibility for every person, every animal, every tiny piece of plant life, everything. I am your world. And I am as open and as available to you as you are willing to look. It's ours to notice. It's ours to not take for granted. It's ours to express our gratitude for. It's ours to share. That's where I'm headed. I'll see you in January. And so it is.
So are there any questions? She's back. Okay. So it's time for our contribution and our spiritual giving. If the jesters and ushers could come up and join me. Now, this is our last donation for the whole year. You want a good tax write-off, right? So really, what Rev Ann just talked about is this unlimited. And so our giving, a lot of us, and I'll speak for myself, give the same amount every other week, because that's when I get paid. But to this day and this coming year, I'm expanding that, because I feel like what Rev Ann just talked about was this expansion and this possibility and newness. And so I'm making that commitment for myself to my spiritual community. And where we are in community, where we laugh, where we connect, we grow. And so I'm committing to my growth. So I encourage you, as you're preparing your donation today and into next year, to step a little outside of your comfort zone with what you've been giving, because it helps us to stretch and to be present to the generosity of our lives. And so if you would say with me, please, our sharing affirmation. The love of Spirit blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive abundantly. And so it is. Thank you. And as the baskets pass by you, just put your energy in it, if that's plenty today. Your enthusiasm, your wishes, your intentions. So remember, next week, 9:30, pre-service meditation. I don't know who's going to be doing it. It's going to be in the library, and it'll kickstart our year. So if you would join me, please, in just directing your energy to the baskets and the contributions of energy, of time, of money, of talent. As the Everyday Center, we accept this, we multiply it, we know that it goes out from this place through our stewardship to the community, to Santa Fe, to New Mexico, to the United States. And as it ripples out, we know that we are part of something greater. And so in that we are grateful, and so it is. So it is.
A little bit of tuning.
Save your ears.
Shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will not fear, thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest the table before me in the presence of my enemies. Surely goodness and loving kindness shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever and ever and ever. Thou anointest my head in oil, my cups overflowing. Surely goodness and loving kindness shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever and ever and ever. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall